Hey, Stegosaurus, Staggs here. I'm back out on my shenanigans. I'm walking around in my local park, which is actually really nicely decorated. I have a neighborhood park on my side of the neighborhood, but we have a town square. And yeah, I seem to undermine the fact that this one's actually well lit at night. The other one turns off at like maybe 9 o'clock, something like that. It's got a little pickleball court. You know, it's nice and cute and a little dainty and all that. But you know, this is, hey, like free studio lighting, you know, and take advantage of it. This is where your taxpayer money goes, you know, so this is yours. Use it, obviously. But I'm just here, you know, walking around with a big gallon jug that I used to take with me in the deserts of Midland, Texas. But I just wanted to talk about some notes I had on my offhand. This is the main reason I have a camera, you know, because it's like I could probably do a lot of these little videos on just my iPhone. You know, there's a amazing thing I just found last week that lets you move information what's it called? Local share? Local drop, something. But there's an app, I'll probably even just edit the name of it right over my face right now because it's the simplest way just to now just send stuff from your phone immediately to your computer. I just wanted to share that little tip, that little side note. Whoever made that app, you're a fucking genius. You deserve the world. You ought to make that, you at least pay $1 for it. If not, put some ads on it because that is so good. That is better than AirDrop, better than anything else. Why pay $10 a month to AirDrop shit to yourself, to your own devices, when you can just take that app for free? You know, it's literally free. You know, in 4 seconds, I shared myself like 6 gigabytes of video and just nonsense, just like 4K, whatever I wanted, like files, photos, videos, TikTok, anything. But no, that's just a quick like digression. But this thing I'm gonna post wherever, amazing. Use it. That is the best thing ever made for content creators trying to just start. So that's my tip for anyone else starting, trying to just like share files. Amazing thing. Use that. Use it and abuse it because maybe they do make it where you pay for it, and use it while it's free. It's so good. But I digress. What am I here to talk about today? I'm recording audio, you know, I'm testing stuff. I'm laying foundation, you know. I'm gonna post some other random videos here and there. I probably already posted 1 or 2 of me just yapping. I wanna have these little vlogs, idiot, talk normally, stupid. I'm roasting myself, it's just, this is how I talk to myself in my head. You know, this is me just projecting my mental, is all this really is, you know. Anytime my family sees me just being quiet as hell or just kind of just doing whatever in my room, it's because I'm thinking like this to myself constantly. And you know, I just wanted to talk to myself for, you know, accountability's sake. And I think it's ideal to talk about that, not to yourself, but just out loud, you know. You need to claim it, you know. Whatever you actually want in this world, it's there for the taking. You just have to be the person to actually figure it all out. And easier said than done, of course, you know. I've had my fair share of uh-ohs, you know. I've dropped out of college more than one occasion. First time, I'm being a frat boy fucking idiot, you know. I'm a frat president at like 19 or 20, and I'm just absolutely just shitting away any lead of being successful that my parents laid down for me. You know, my dad gave me the opportunity to even go to fucking college. I'm being a dumbass, you know, I'm blowing it. Absolutely blowing it, absolutely destroying it. But I learned from there, you know. I get back into college, you know, after some years, you know. I crawl back from community college. I do some side jobs. I work 2 jobs. And I pay for that college and some rent for my family, you know. I'm getting back on my feet per se. And then once I'm back in college, you know, there's a scenario where it's like, well, now here's the flip of the dime, you know. Here's a different, entirely different just scenario you have to be in now. You have to take care of someone else. You got some family in need. And granted, you know, you got some time, you got some money on you. Are you going to be the one to help them out? You know, and you know, families helped me out before, so I thought, you know, it's about time you pay it forward, you know. You sit there and help them out for their mental health episode, physical health. It was any of the above, all the above you want to call it. It was a challenge. It was a challenge to tackle. We'll get into that, at a later date. But for the time being, I just wanted to, really, size myself up. I took that time of going to West Texas. I'm working in the desert sun. It's hot. I'm getting the only tangible money I can, for overtime, per diem pay, all these things to really put myself back in a position where I feel like I'm on my feet again, where it's like I can do it, I can stand there and do it alone. And, I don't think that's the honest way you're supposed to be living life, brother. You fail to realize, it's like, yeah, you can sit there and, you can cast everything else away, but the only reason you made it this far is because you got these people counting on you, relying on you. They're family, friends, etc., strangers, even fans, just the people who want to sit me, even just a stranger just talking to me, you're rooting for me, and likewise, you ought to be rooting for yourself. You got to be your man in your chair, you got to be your number one supporter. And accountability where it's at, but those people help so much. If you can't find yourself to be accountable, man, just see all the people who rely on you, but likewise, you rely on them all the same, and it pushes you. It really does. It really does at the end of the day. I just wanted to get to this little game planning for myself, Back to my previous point, I'm no longer, a blue-collar working man. I saved so much money. I had a real estate license. I did a bit of just everything. Jack of all trades, master of none is what it feels like. But I'm mid-20s, and I thought to myself, I have so much thousands saved up from this blue-collar stuff, but I've got no time. I work 80-hour weeks. I'm sweating. I'm hurting, It's like this aches my muscles. I feel like I'm gonna break my bones doing it at some point. And this maybe end of it all, it wasn't the life for me. And you might feel like a failure or a fuck up or all these other things. Like you're throwing in the towel, like you're a fucking quitter. You're gonna turn on these guys, your teammates and all these other things like that. And my boss said it to me, and it's just like, hey, these guys are grown ass men. They know what they're signing up for. You're young, you're 26. Yeah, these guys are 40, 50 and onward. It's like these guys know where they need to be. They need to be here to provide for families, sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, whatever they got going on. And likewise, I heard that moment. I was like, you know what, Brad, my boss at the time, was like, you're right. Thank you for those words. Thank you so much for those words, actually. But, he was just telling me, what I ought to be accountable for at the end of it all. And I wanted to find a new way, If there's a will, there's a way. And if you got the strength to do it, you can will it into existence. So I wanted to go become a realtor. And because I was previously, I just didn't want to lose all that time and lead that I had, I needed to do 100 hours of studying in the span of like 2 months. And I was like, I quit. Like, I got to quit something, pay my siblings, all the rent I owe them. It's like, here's money. Here's the next couple months. I need to grind. I need to sit down and I just need to grind this away constantly. And I get to a point where I finish that, so that'll be a tangible, key for me again for my future endeavors. But, plans, just because you can make commission money don't mean money's gonna be rolling in, even right now, end of the year, I'm just working at a coffee shop, but it's like, hey, here and now is all it is, man. You ain't got to stress it too much. You think you're going to be stuck here? You're going to be stuck in this moment forever? You're not. And if you generally, see yourself being stuck in the scenario, why? Are you the one who's actually stopping yourself? Is anyone else stopping you? Because the reality is, there ain't no one else. It is literally just you. There is no one else in this world giving you inhibition, inaction, all of the above. The only one stopping your plans from plan A to B to C is you at the end of the day. Back when I was, still in college, I had 2 jobs, and I was finessing as much money as I can, You know, I had sticky notes of what to do in my off time, because the minute I turned my phone off, if I didn't have these plans all written out for myself, I wanted to turn around and just see tangibly in my head, ring it back to me. You wrote it down once, repeat it back to yourself. Talk to yourself like you're crazy, but in a productive way. You know, you got shit to do. You know you got shit to do. But keep focusing on that. Don't let all this other little humdrum get in the way, all this other BS, all these other issues, because they're not your issues, you know? And then granted too, just like, you know, the family I take care of, you know, it's like the scenario where I had to just stop, you know, do what I could and be a helping hand. You know, it's like granted, you know, it's like, that's honorable, you know? But times pass, you know, people are okay, everything's fine, you know? Everything's all roses and daisies, because we had a family to sit there and see it through and, you know, be there for each other for whenever plans fall through, because plans will fall through easily, and you got to be ready for plan A, B, C, D, contingency, all the way through the whole alphabet. You know, it's never done in reality. You know, the only time you actually fail is when you quit. Honest to God. Honest to God. And my dad, you know, he would tell me too, he wanted to coin a catchphrase. I remember he told me it once, maybe twice if even, but it still sticks with me. I want him to know this. He just had a conversation. He was like, you know, son, stags never quit. It's like, okay, Dad, well, you and me are the only stags. Like, your dad's passed, bless his soul. However messy old military drunk dad Dennis was, his dad, granddad Dennis, I never met him, you know. But my dad is an honest working man. I'm a little rough around the edges, you know, but, you know, I keep that mentality. I really do. I try to, at least. I really, really try to. And, you know, it takes that accountability in the day. And more than just myself, you know, it takes all those people alongside me, you know. It's like that friend, that family I talked about earlier. All of the above. All of the above. But likewise, this is initially just supposed to be me just ranting, just to test audio, is all this truly was. But I'm sure there was more talk for, excuse me. I've had to pee so bad. Oh, I'm losing it. Okay, drink some water. All right, it's getting chilly and my battery's actually about to die. But the point is, I can get back on these tangents later. Here's just to me keeping myself accountable, you know. I do want to make YouTube. I want to make content. I want to tell stories, dumb shit. Here's some vlogs. I'll probably make some gaming stuff later, some story times. I got plenty of dumbass stories. But yeah, here's the start of this year to really, you know, bring it on home next year. So before my camera dies, you know, I just want to say thank you for even stopping by. Any stranger across this ethereal thing we call the internet, you know. I just want to tell, you know, a lot of some knowledge I've learned, some stories from here and there, but got to keep myself accountable and do it. End of the day, action. Action speaks louder than words. And I'll leave you with this, as you'll hear me say plenty of times. You are an amazing human being. You deserve an amazing life. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye, love you, bye. Happy holidays.